Hello again, everyone. Back with the animal abuse series, and this one is about circuses. In ancient Rome, the term circus referred to a building dedicated to the exhibition of horse races, chariot races, tagged battles, equestrian shows, and gladiator combat. The format for the modern circus has been attributed to Philip Astley, an English cavalry officer who set up a modern amphitheater to display horse riding tricks in London in 1768. Englishman John Bills Ricketts is credited with bringing the modern circus to the U.S. The circus revolutionized in the 1800s when P.T. Barnum and William Cameron Coop launched the first traveling circus. P.T. Barnum Museum, Mangering, and Circus. The first modern circus opened in the U.S. in Philadelphia by Englishman John Bill Ricketts in 1973. The Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey circuses, billed as the greatest show on earth, ran from 1871 to 2017. After 1957, the circus performed under portable big-top tents rather than using permanent venues. Circuses in the U.S. traditionally traveled by train. The Ringling Brothers Circus had 2 trains, each a mile long, with about 60 cars. The heavier animals like horses and elephants were carried in the front of the train, with lions, tigers, and bears in the back. Now, for the little trigger warning. Some of these statistics are pretty bad. Circus animals spend up to 11 months of the year traveling in tiny boxcars. The circus moves from place to place and is on the road a good portion of the time. This means that circus animals spend up to 11 months of the year traveling, usually in boxcars that are not temperature regulated, where they are expected to sleep, eat, and use the bathroom. All the major U.S. circuses that use wild animals as entertainment have been cited for not meeting the minimum requirements for the standard of care put forth by the U.S. Animal Welfare Act. This is partially because the law only covers minimal standard care for certain species, and because the USDA, which is supposed to conduct inspections, does so infrequently. There has also been complaints that these inspectors aren't adequately trained in what they look for. Since 1990, there have been more than 123 documented attacks on humans by captive large cats in the U.S., 13 of which resulted in fatal injuries. During the off-season, animals used in circuses may be housed in small traveling cages. Such confinements has harmful psychological effects on them. These effects are often indicated by unnatural behavior, such as repeated swaying and pacing. Lack of exercise and long hours standing on hard surfaces are major contributors to foot infections and arthritis, which is the leading cause of death among captive elephants. Trainers use whips, tight collars, muzzles, electric prods, bull hooks, and other painful tools of the trade to force animals to perform. In more than 35 dangerous incidents since 2000, elephants have bolted from circuses, run amok through the streets, crashed into buildings, attacked members of the public, and killed and injured handlers. Tigers naturally fear fire, but they are still forced to jump through hoops of fire in some circuses and have been burned while doing so. Circus animals have the right to be protected and treated humanely under the Animal Welfare Act. Circuses are repeatedly cited by the U.S. Department of Agriculture under the Animal Welfare Act for trailers that have splintering wood and sharp protruding metal pieces near animal cages. Trainers mask the cruelty to elephants using wonder dust. Bears are agonized to stand on their hind legs or risk strangulation. Dehydration and starvation are part of the training techniques. Trainers ignore the complex needs of wild circus animals. Elephants in captivity contract the human strain of tuberculosis. Circus animals are often obese. Circus animals are prone to zoochosis. Only 48 countries in the world have regulated or banned the use of animals in circuses. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has yet to enforce circus animal rights. Elephant calves are chained for 23 hours a day in an attempt to break them. I have found so many statistics on animals in zoos and in circuses. And some of them I don't even feel comfortable with discussing. Not because they don't need to have the awareness brought to them, but simply because I don't think we can handle it. Not the ones that truly feel and have compassion for these animals. You know, you can always do a Google search and look up like the devastating facts of circus animals or of animals in aquariums. Zoo animals, or simply what are the statistics for animals in captivity. Be creative with the Google searches, and each search will bring up a ton of information. Most of it does bring tears to your eyes. We have got to find a way to get the laws and the rules to change with animals in captivity. Now, I'm not against animals being placed somewhere for breeding purposes to prevent extinction, or, you know, animals in captivity. You know, people want to own like one wild tiger or something. You know, they have the space, they have the means to take care of it. I mean, it's not the best thing, obviously, but, you know, it's each person's choice. But when we get all these horrific statistics of animals always being chained up on tiny chains, or, you know, electric prods and all kinds of stuff that they use to simply train an animal, it's wrong. And especially when they want to train them for things that they naturally fear in the wild, like tigers jumping through fire hoops. They're not going to do that in the wild. So things like that should not be allowed. In further series, I will be covering a lot of horrific information. Like there's no easy way to say it. It's all horrific. You know, going from Chinese economy for animal cruelty. Then we will be discussing how horses are treated when they are kept for racing and, you know, different things like that, all the way up to domestic animals that people raise. Talk about chicken fights and oh my god, there's just so much. Ever since I mentioned doing this series, I have been doing research. And there is so many types of animal abuse. And on some things that is funded by the government or even, you know, the rich people that just want their name added to something else. You know, they don't care what the animals are going through. If they've got enough money to buy some, you know, rare animals or something to keep in captive, you would think that they would have enough money to make sure that it has perfect conditions and people trained to properly care for these animals. But they don't. They just simply want their name attached to something that can make them even richer. So I hope that everyone takes this series very serious. And there is a petition on my community page, it's still up, to stop animal abuse on social media. And I have been working on writing up something just for that. Mostly it has to do with some of the Chinese things, like the Chinese version of TikTok, and I think there was one called like WeChat or something like that. And I will be describing a couple of videos that is on these sites, and they just, I don't know, they rake in the views and people cheering, and you know, it's, for me, it's just simply crazy. It's insanity. But if you haven't already, please go and sign that petition and share it so that we can try to get some of these social media sites to stop promoting animal abuse. You know, and not only take down the videos or whatever, but prosecute the people behind them, the people that's there watching it, the people that's there egging it on, the people that witness it and stay silent. Like, there's so many things that need to be stopped. And hopefully with that petition, you know, we can at least get get something in motion. I'm going to go ahead and close this video, and I will be uploading more with different circumstances surrounding animal abuse. Have a good night, everybody, and don't forget to give your little pet some loving.